on
Dude, that
Matthew
one scene,
McConaughey.
man, where Matthew McConaughey is like pulling remote controls out of his pocket, like trying to
Yeah,
test them on his like, oh, this one's trash. This one's trash. Oh, look, I found one that makes my leg move. Like,
yeah.
what is going
And
on?
then hey, welcome to another episode of the Sons of Haddonfield. As always, I'm Ian, and over there is Josh.
Hey, everybody, how you doing tonight?
We're going to be talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You posted something really funny on Instagram like a little bit ago that like made me laugh. Do you know what it was?
I could survive the franchise because I wouldn't go to Texas.
Yeah. I got a kick out of that. You're like, I would survive easily because I'm not going to go to Texas.
Yep. And that's how you survive a Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's how you survive a lot of things, just not going to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to our Texas people if you're out there. I do know some awesome people in Texas. They're just not a lot of them.
That we know.
So obviously we're doing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise ranking. The new movie just came out. Man, people are either loving it, people are hating it, people are fighting about it. Like, it's causing turmoil in the horror industry, it seems.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? It's like, are you a horror fan if you love it? Or are you not a horror fan if you hate it? Because that seems to be what people are saying. But yeah, honestly, what you said the other day, you like what you like, and that's good. And it doesn't make you any less of a horror fan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, horror doesn't need gatekeepers. We don't need gatekeepers saying you can't be a horror fan if you like this movie, or you're only a horror fan if you like this certain movie. Like, that's just not cool at all. People are individuals. They like what they like. They don't like what they don't like, and they don't need to like explain their reasoning to some troll on the internet. Like, just let people be happy and excited about what they like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say it right now. I freaking loved the new movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the better ones of the franchise.
And we'll talk about. I think we're gonna go movie by movie, starting with. There's 9 movies in the franchise.
Yeah.
So I think we'll start with our number 9s and then work our way down. And when we get to the new one, I'll explain why I like it.
Okay. So should we start with number me first or you first?
Go for it, man. Take it away. Go for number 9.
Okay. So my number 9 is probably what I'm thinking your number 9 is. I might be wrong, but it's very, very not great. It's like, so it was when Texas Chainsaw 2013, also known as Texas Chainsaw 3D. That's my number 9.
Yep, same here. Same number 9.
Like, it has a few good things going for it. Like Alexandra Daddario is pretty great actress.
Alexandra Daddario is Alexandra Daddario, and that's awesome.
and you do get the line "Go get him, cuz," in it, which is pretty funny. But that's also one of the reasons why it's not great, in my opinion. But it is kind of neat that you get cameos by Marilyn Burns, John Dugan, and Bill Moseley in that one. Marilyn Burns, obviously, we'll talk about her later.
Gunnar Hansen too. Gunnar Hansen is at the very beginning of the movie with Bill Moseley, so that's cool. Before he passed away, before Marilyn Burns passed away, it almost feels like a made-for-TV movie to me. Like, I was watching it this time, and I didn't feel this. I didn't like it before, but I didn't feel like this before, and it was like the clothing, just the color grading, everything was just off. Like, it's just like so cheap. Like the sheriff's outfits, or whatever you want to call them, uniforms, I guess, in the town where they were in, they were like just like blue jeans from Walmart and like a cheap brown button up. Like, I don't know. It's just like the whole thing seemed very TV movie like to me this time around. The acting is horrible. The hip hop guy is not, I forgot his name.
Trey Songz.
Trey Songs, yeah, the that guy, he's not good.
Just the whole premise of that movie is weird. Like she inherits
Yeah,
a property because she was adopted after the original Texas Chainsaw went down. They burned up the Sawyer home or the home, and then like someone rescued the baby, and these other redneck people adopted her, and then she finds out that she was from these other people in Texas, and so
and
she's got
like
to go
totally
home.
happy about it. Like she finds this out,
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, my family is killers. Yes, I love this. Like
Well,
this is so
she's
me."
like, yeah, my adopted family sucks, and I'm gonna go inherit this house and see what it's all about. And then like they pick up a hitchhiker, go figure, because they always do, and he robs them, and he unlocks the door where, um, Leatherface has been living in this abandoned house all along for the entire time. And then he's gonna kill her too, but because she has the same birthmark tattoo on her chest, he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill you because you're
Yeah,
related to me." Like
like
it's
what?
so bizarre
What?
and
Like
random.
I don't get it. It's just the whole thing is just not. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It's just off. So it's I don't like the movie at all.
Yeah,
They did do some fun little nods to the original. Like they have the booty shot, like walk into the house, kind of like they kind of redid some of the scenes like that, But it's not enough to save it.
yeah.
So that's my number 9. Number 8 for me is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. It's the prequel to the 2003 film starring Jessica Biel. Um, it's not really a bad film, but it's not really a good film either. It's pretty much what you expect. Pretty cookie
Yeah,
cutter, run of the mill.
yeah, yeah. To
And
show
so
how everything happened. So
it's not really bad. It's not really good. It's there.
it exists.
Leatherface is okay in it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the same
Um,
one from '03.
yeah, I love the '03 Leatherface. I love him in that one, but this one is just kind of, you know. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is, let me go back to my list here. My number 7 is Leatherface.
All right, same for me. So we're sticking with the same so far.
Like, so with Leatherface, which came out in 2017, like it's a pretty fun movie, but it doesn't really feel like a Texas Chainsaw movie.
Mm-mm.
But it is really fun. It's like another prequel from a different timeline. The two brothers, they get like taken away by the sheriff, who's like, I'm gonna, put these kids in a psychiatric facility and foster care because you're a criminal and you can't have your kids. And then it turns into like a Great Escape, Bonnie and Clyde kind of like vibes throughout, and then it kind of shows how Leatherface becomes Leatherface.
Becomes Leatherface, yeah. Like you
Yeah,
said, you nailed it when you said it doesn't really feel like a American horror, like a TCM movie. Like I think it would have been a really good movie if it wasn't connected to this franchise.
yeah. Like
If
the
it was
only
just like
thing
a
that, yeah,
standalone movie that came out in 2017, it could have been really good. The cast is good. Stephen Dorff is awesome as like the vengeful sheriff. Lily Taylor is in it. She's
yeah,
awesome. And Finn Jones, who he's Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
He's in. He's fun. It has some really, really dark and disturbing scenes in this one.
Uh-huh.
I would not. It may be one of the darkest movies in the franchise, honestly.
Yeah,
Like
with the
there's that
whole like
one,
guy in the RV who's been
yeah,
like,
and there's like that necrophilia scene, basically with that, like,
yeah, where they're having like the threesome with it, those two
yeah.
other inmates. I'm
I'm
like,
like,
that's
oh
really
man,
weird.
this is out there. So, you know what it gave to me? Like, I say it could have been a standalone movie and been really good. You know what else it could have been? Like a season of American Horror Story.
It could have been.
Like it almost gave those vibes, like American Horror Story vibes. Like it could have played out an entire season of these kids escaping the mental hospital and the cops tracking them down and stuff. Like, I don't know. I kind of got that vibe from it more this time around than I did the first time I saw it.
Yeah, the one thing I thought that was kind of neat, there's like a few scenes, one where they decide to hide under the cow to escape. That was pretty neat. Like the effects for that. But like there's like another scene where they're wearing like a pig head mask, and it doesn't really look that great.
No.
But it's still pretty fun. But and also the twist at the end of the movie, that's a good
solid twist there. I like that one.
Yeah, how the guy you don't think is Leatherface becomes Leatherface.
Let's see if we can continue the streak of the same ranking up to number 6. For me, it is TCM, The Next Generation,
or The Return of the Texas
Chainsaw Massacre. It has a couple different titles. Is that 6 for you?
Yep, that's number 6 for me.
Oh man, we continue it. And this is where I'm gonna stop. And I have something to say, because now we're getting into, this one came out in 95, I think.
Yeah, 95, 94.
So we're getting into the original 4 movies. We haven't said the new one or the 2003 one yet, but so I honestly love this franchise. But it's all for like personal reasons. Like, I got into these movies when I was really young, kind of discovering horror. I watched them all really early on in like my love for horror, right? So they all kind of hold a personal meaning. TCM3, Leatherface, TCM3. I've hung out with R.A. Mihailoff, who plays Leatherface in that movie. He's a great guy. I had really fun talking to him before. So that holds a place in my heart. Matthew McConaughey in this one. I love Matthew McConaughey. So that holds a place in my heart. Now, that being said, I give them all high scores because I think they're all fun. I love them. Okay. They have a really, really big problem. And I can understand people who are like watching them for the first time, not knowing what is happening with these movies.
Yeah.
They have a Leatherface problem, in my opinion. We played the game. The first person you think of when you hear the name Texas Chainsaw Massacre is going to be Leatherface. I feel like he's hardly ever the real villain in these movies. Like, he's hardly ever on screen. And when he is on the sequels, you're not afraid of him. You're not scared of him. You just feel bad for him. Like, I want Leatherface to be the villain. I want Leatherface to be scary. And I feel like even in 2, I mean, he's a little more scary in 2, but that movie is so campy and so silly. Like, you can't even take it serious,
Yeah,
it's in 3, he's not scary. In 4, he's not scary, So I feel like the first movie was so out there for 1974. They didn't really know what to do with it. They didn't know they had a slasher icon in Leatherface in their hands. I don't think they knew that. Mm-hmm. And so they make TCM2. They try to make it campy, have fun with it, and they succeeded. It's a campy, fun movie. It's a cult classic now. But they don't really know what to do with the franchise, so they don't really know where to take it. And so instead of taking it in the direction that you would think, like with the Freddys and the Michaels and the Jasons, they don't do that at all. Leatherface is not the main character. He's not the main bad guy at all. It's always like the dad or, the Matthew McConaughey type character, Viggo Mortensen in part 3. Those guys are the main villains. Leatherface is kind of an afterthought, Yeah. And it's just kind of
like in number 4, he looks like Mrs. Doubtfire-esque, like with that wig and the mask looks like plasticky and not like it does in like some of the other films. Mm-hmm. And like this one,
it looks very much like a mask and not like skin like it's supposed to be, you know?
And number 4 is way out there in the bizarre factor with like the remote control leg. on
Dude, that
Matthew
one scene,
McConaughey.
man, where Matthew McConaughey is like pulling remote controls out of his pocket, like trying to
Yeah,
test them on his leg. Oh, this one's trash. This one's trash. Oh, look, I found one that makes my leg move. Like,
yeah.
what is going
And
on?
then he curb stomps that dude in the kitchen. But like, it is so random and like bizarre. It's like crazy.
I think they could have started with TCM2, and I think they could have had so many good sequels. Like, we're talking Friday the 13th level, Halloween level, but they had no clue what to do with, like, where to take it after the original. And so we got these random, completely bizarre sequels that they have different characters in each movie. No, like, nobody's the same character ever,
Yeah,
but they're all close, like, they're all mimicking, like Matthew McConaughey is obviously mimicking Viggo Mortensen's character, but they have different names. They're not the same
yeah,
character, but they're supposed to be. And it's like, I don't know what we're trying to do here.
yeah. And then
And
like, um, you get his famous "all right, all right, all right" line, and then
mhm.
who's ready to have some fun? Like, so he's got some good like lines, and Renee Zellweger's in this one. We
And she's
haven't even talked
horrible.
about her. Um, but like, there's a killer like who's supposed to be one of the other characters from the original, like W.E.
Mhm.
Sawyer, and but in like part three, I think they said he's dead.
Yeah.
He died, and then all of a sudden, here's a new guy named
Yeah.
W.E. And then uh, like he quotes random books at people, and then like tries to hit them with hammers and stuff, and like, and then there's the lady in the shop who like is like an actress model lady, and she's
Mhm.
like they're like, oh, we're gonna go get pizzas, and they go to a burger joint. Then
What is that what is that scene with her in the drive-thru? Like,
it's supposed to be they're supposed to be picking up pizzas because she says like the entire time they're getting pizza, and then they go to a burger joint, and then when they're back at the house, it's pizza again, and it's all like cold, and everyone's mad about it.
and like, this is Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. It's not their first movie, but it's one of
But
their
it's
very
definitely
earliest movies.
yeah,
So Matthew McConaughey is Matthew McConaughey still. Like, I don't think he can give less than 110%. Even with this movie, this script, like, he goes all out, right?
mm-hmm.
Renee Zellweger is horrible in this movie. Like,
Yeah,
her acting
like,
is awful.
and then
She's like,
there's the
oh, you're trying to kill me. I'll run
yeah,
away. Like, it's just,
and then there's
oh my God, it's bad.
the chase across the rooftop, where like she climbs out a window and tries to like climb across the telephone pole,
Yeah.
and like Leatherface is up there trying to get her on the roof, and it's like, I'm just gonna cut the zip line, and she falls through a greenhouse. Like, yeah, it's out there and bizarre. And then there's the dude in the limousine who shows up with like the weird bull
Yeah.
rings on his chest and the scars, and he's like, you guys can't be killing people. Like,
Apparently, Leatherface and this family work for him. Like, is
yeah,
that where, like, this is like the Texas mob or what?
yeah, and then he drives off. But the reason I think for me this one's higher up on the list than those other ones is just because it's so out there, and Matthew McConaughey is Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey is Matthew McConaughey in everything he does, and that is amazing. So we are blessed that he is in a TCM movie.
And the other plus about this movie, Marilyn Burns is in it at the end, and so is John Dugan and the actor who plays Franklin. They're all cameos in the hospital at the end.
Don't get me started on Franklin.
I will
when we talk about the original. I'll get started on Franklin, but not until then.
I'm just saying those three actors are at the end, so that was kind of nice.
What's number 5? I feel like we're going to be different now because mine is not of popular opinion from here on out.
My number 5 is the reboot, the 2022 reboot.
Okay. So that is not my number 5. My number 5 is TCM2.
For my rewatch. For me, it's a little higher because it's so fun and campy. And you got Bill Moseley who says, "Lick my plate, you dog dick." That's really fun. It has the same vibes as the original. Because it's directed by Tobe Hooper. And by the same vibes, I mean like the camera work and stuff seems pretty
Yeah,
similar.
the same grittiness, kind of the
Yeah.
same dirtiness, and all
And then
around kind of.
you got Dennis Hopper, who gets playing the sheriff. And then hold on, where is
You have Caroline Williams,
yeah,
as
who
the lead actress,
yeah,
Stretch.
the radio host Stretch. And Bill Moseley plays Chop Top. And then it's got like this fun campiness about like the chili cook-off. And then Dennis Hopper he goes to buy chainsaws.
Dude,
like,
that scene is so epic, man. Like, how epic is that scene? He doesn't say anything. He just walks in, like, lays out like $700 on the wood table there, and just starts like testing out the chainsaws. And then he goes outside, and the guy's like, "Oh, you have to try them. You have to cut the wood." And instead of doing it like a chainsaw, the guy's like,
like, sorting,
Dennis Hopper, man.
And like I just love like some of the kills in that one. Like they're pretty gritty. And then obviously Bill Moseley, he's epic. And at the end, it's kind of got Friday the 13th vibes with like the grandma with like the chainsaw that somehow still works.
Yeah.
And then she does the Leatherface dance at the end after she defeats him.
Yeah, Caroline Williams does the Leatherface dance at the end there. That's fun. Look, from here on out, all of the movies are 5 stars in my opinion.
Yeah.
I told you, I love them. I love this franchise. I think it's incredibly flawed, and I can see how, people would not like it. But like I said, they all hold like, a special place in my heart. So even though TCM2 is ranked this low on my top 9, I still love it. It's still so much fun for me, What is number 4 for you?
Number 4 for me is TCM3.
Okay, we're back on track now. We got the same number 4. Look, yes, I agree with all the criticisms of this movie, but you got Kane Hodder, who plays Leatherface in the trailer. He's also the stunt coordinator for this movie. You got Ken Faree. You got Viggo Mortensen. It's such a random, bizarre story and a script. And I swear to God, they found the only swamp in Texas to film this movie.
Yeah,
like, I put on my Letterboxd.
There are swamps in Texas.
It should be called the New Orleans Chainsaw Massacre.
Or as I like to call it, the action movie Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, Ken Faree running around,
with the machine gun.
Yeah. It's but it's fun. I Leatherface isn't that great in it. Ari Mahila. There's that epic scene, when they hand him his new chainsaw and it says the Saw's family. Like, it's just so corny and so campy, but it's so much fun.
Yeah, and this is the one where they say Sally from the original has died. And so has like the other Sawyer family elders. So it kind of like starts drifting away from, those guys from Texas Chainsaw 2 to set up a whole new story. To me, it also kind of has Wrong Turn vibes and some of those other ones from like some of the other movies that came later. I
can see that. I can see Wrong Turn.
And the guy's like, and the sheriff's like, you got to go down this road because that road's bad, and like kind of steering them off. And then there's like the crazy guy who's like a peeping Tom at the gas station, like who runs them off with the shotgun, and then they end up chasing them down the road into where they want them to go. So like Wrong Turn, Hills Have Eyes, kind of like starting out vibes.
Yeah, it definitely has those vibes. I get that. It went through a lot of reshoots. I don't know if we ever really got to see the movie that Bill Burr wanted to make with this. And that's a shame. I don't know if that cut even exists somewhere, but even with that, there's that one scene with Leatherface in the water, and the chainsaw still works.
It's very durable.
It's still going, like in the lake. There's stuff like that, but you know what? It's fun. It's a fun movie. That's number 4 for both of us.
Oh yeah, and the one more thing I was going to say about number 3 going back to what you were saying about Leatherface being like sympathetic and you want to care about him because he's got like the disability and you don't want to be afraid of him. So there's like this scene when he finds like that Walkman and he's like all happy because he's like, I got a Walkman and everything. And then like one of the brothers like throws it into the fireplace or the stove and is trying to destroy it. And then he like cuts off the dude's, tries to cut off his hand. Like, he's like to get his Walkman back. Like, I was like, that was kind of nice to see. But then like, they kind of made him like all technological savvy in this one.
And there's like that little girl in the movie, like they're trying to train the little girl how to like do the things and stuff.
Yeah.
So number three for you.
Number 3 for me is your number 5. TCM2 is my number. No. Yeah.
So number 3 for me is the new one. It is TCM 2022. And here's what I love most about it. I say I would talk about it when I get there. For all the reasons what I just said about the sequels is why I love this one. They made Leatherface be the main villain. They made Leatherface scary, in my opinion. He wasn't. It didn't seem like he really had disabilities. He was smart. He was setting traps. Like, this is the Leatherface I have wanted to see for a very long time, and they've never gotten. Like, this is who I always think Leatherface could be. Yes, he does obviously still love his family. TCM is the tight-knit family, and he don't want to take that completely away. And so they touched on that. He's living with I forgot her name. But the old lady who dies at the beginning.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's keeping him in check. Mm-hmm. She's not letting him kill. He's listening to her. But when she dies, it's kind of all bets are off. And like he even tries like the ventilator. He's smart. Like he's smart in this one. And I think he's scary. It's beautifully shot. I love the cinematography on it. There's so many different scenes where I'm like, oh man, how cool would that look hanging on the wall? Like they did a great job with the look of this movie. The kills were brutal. It's a complete bloodbath, gore all over the place. Love that. The storyline, it's I think it's better than a lot of the sequels we've gotten. It's not airtight, but it's not horrible. I like that they had a little bit more to it with like the school shooting stuff and how she had to kind of face that fear and get over that trauma to survive being attacked by Leatherface. A lot of people are really upset that they killed off, spoilers, that they kill Sally in this movie.
Yeah, they bring her back just to kill her off.
I'm the opposite. I applauded them for having the courage and the guts to actually kill off this obviously isn't the same actress who plays Sally, but to kill off an original character. Mm-hmm. Look at Halloween. I'm not saying Halloween should have killed Laurie Strode because I don't want that to happen, but they bring her back. And yeah, the fans love that. We all want to see the original survive, but at the end of the day, an old lady is not going to survive against Leatherface.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more realistic, in my opinion.
Yeah. There was a few things about that. Also, I think, one of the reasons why the story is so great, in my opinion, it was written by Alexandre Aja. He did the screenplay for it. So it's got like his vibes, and he's really good at bringing back these franchises. Like The Hills Have Eyes, and he did that Evil Dead movie.
Yep.
So like he's really good at bringing back these historic franchises, and it was directed by the guy who did Bloodfest. So it's completely different from that standpoint. It's really serious, really gory. The kills, like you said, were excellent. My favorite one, or one of my favorite ones, was that scene on the bus where he like comes up onto the bus and like no one can get away because how can you escape a guy on a bus with a chainsaw?
There's nothing you can do. I mean, body parts are just flying all over the place on that.
Like that was epic. And I'm sure over time, this one will move up in my list. Just like for the nostalgia factor, like the other ones ranked higher at the moment. But um, yeah, like the kills were excellent.
Yeah, I don't have anything to complain about. I love the movie. Say what
Yeah,
if you call me a non-horror fan because I like the movie, say be what it is.
like
But
the only thing I thought was they could have done differently was like just like have the Tesla drive away. But I guess they kind of want to have that be like kind of like the original with like the one survivor. Like I felt like that was kind of rushed, that little ending.
I
But
definitely didn't see it coming.
yeah, but other than that, I really loved it.
Yeah. Um. So that leaves us our top two. We still
And we might be different here. Um, my number two is probably gonna alienate me from most of the Texas Chainsaw fans.
Oh, if you're
But
saying that, we might have the same one.
my number two is Texas Chainsaw One, the original from 1974.
Same hair, man. Same hair.
I prefer the remake, so sue me.
I do too. I do
Don't sue
too.
me. I don't have any money.
The 2003 version was what I saw first. It was the movie. I was just getting, I was brand new into horror when that movie came out. I saw it and I loved it. I immediately went out and I watched all the other ones, like I said. So it might be that kind of nostalgia factor for me plays a bit of it, but I just love the way that they use Leatherface in the remake. He's big, he's scary, he's violent, like he's like I said in the new one is how I want to see Leatherface. It's also in the 2003 version is how I want to see Leatherface. And the other characters, you touched on R. Lee earlier, like he's terrifying to me as the sheriff.
Yeah.
And then you got the victims, if you want to call them that. You got led by Jessica Biel, who is the survivor. She does a great job. And then the other actors, they're all really good.
Yeah.
They do a great job in their roles.
Yeah, Eric Balfour.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
When that scene, speaking of Eric's character, when Jessica Biel looks back and sees Leatherface with the Kemper mask on for the first time, that's bone chilling, man. That's such a good scene.
It is terrifying. And like they did a good job at setting it apart by keeping it similar. She's got a different first name. That her name's Erin instead of Sally, but it's still Hardesty. So it's still that. So you know who's who. I thought they did a great job setting up the whole cannibalism to survive the Great Depression, because that's basically when this movie is supposed to have taken place, like just after the Great Depression, like a couple 20, 30 years after, but like the family's still stuck in their ways. Like we gotta kill random passers through and eat them so we can live and not have to go through what we went through, which is what they touch on in a lot of the prequels.
It's it needless to say, it's my favorite remake of all time. I just love it. And that's not taking anything away from the original. I love the original. I like the way they use Leatherface in the 2003 version better. That's just me though. He's bigger, he's scarier. They use him more. It's more cinematic when they use him in the 2003 version. The 1974, the original, it's almost too much in like a sensory overload kind of like traumatizing way for me. Like towards the end of the movie at the dinner table, like they're just nonstop screaming. Nobody's really talking, but they're all just like all over the place. The camera's all over the place. And I'm sure that was intentional, I'm sure Toby Hooper wanted it like that. And it works. Like it drives you to the point of wanting to turn it off. It's almost so much. And then it finally dials it back a little bit and like progresses with the rest of the movie. But so like that, it's effective. It's a different type of scary. It's a different type of horror rather than like a Leatherface coming at you, but it still gets under your skin and it still makes you remember it. It's still memorable,
It is very memorable. But one of the reasons I think why the 2003 version is so great. The directing was fantastic in that one, and another great remake that Marcus went on to do was he did the 2009 Friday the 13th movie. He was the director for that one too. So that's
so there you have it, guys.
There's
our franchise ranking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Do you guys agree with us or not? Let us know in the comments below. As always, you can like and subscribe, hit that little bell to get notified every time we post a video. You can follow us on Instagram at Sons of Haddonfield or personal accounts Horror Sensei.
And Ibeck Joe.
You can follow us on Twitter at Haddonfield Sons. And you can follow us on Letterboxd to see our rankings and our list that we update. I'm Husker Sensei on that.
And I'm Ibeck Joe.
You're still Ibeck Joe. Same across all the platforms. Ibeck Joe there. But that's all for you guys tonight. We hope you enjoy.
We did forget one thing.
What?
We did forget one thing.
Huh.
So with the original Texas Chainsaw, it spawned the world's scariest character of all time, and I'm not talking about Leatherface.
Oh God, don't bring him up.
We did not talk about Franklin.
Dude,
the scariest character of all time.
I almost put the new movie ahead of the original just because of how much I hate Franklin. Almost, dude, almost. Like he ruins the movie for me. I can't watch it.
I remember we didn't talk about it, so I had to bring it back up.
Like I never have gotten so happy to see somebody die in the movie before.
Yeah, like it's awful.
I'd rather watch like 100 straight hours of Schindler's List than to watch anything Franklin related ever.
Yeah, he's just like
Sally.
Yeah,
like God, just kill him already.
The actor did a good job at being an annoying character that no one wanted on that road trip. He made it. He did a terrific job.
He was very convincing
because all his friends didn't like him in the movie. That's why. So, anyway, that was my final thoughts.
Yeah. That is all for you guys. We'll see you next time. And remember, everyone loves a goddamn lobster roll.
Except